Rivals of Aether is a pretty good game. It is currently sitting at overwhelmingly positive. It's the greatest game ever. It's better than Space. Yeah, it's pretty good. I decided to only look at the negative reviews. Dear Dan, I have never smiled while playing this game. Tim, Brawlhalla is better. Way better. Game f***ing sucks. Just a bunch of scrubs online think they're good for mashing jump and random attack. Devs need to make it so only people that are good can win. A Smash clone, they say, but this game is more of an ass clone. Get the shit out of here. This game is for people who suck at Melee. I'm shit at this game. Can I get my money back for all the DLC I bought since y'all decided to make a furry dating sim? Melee is trash. This game f***ing sucks. Shake my head. Up smash covers the range of Lexington steals at a girl from his 8-inch for sake. H. Edalus is big gay. I suck at fighting games. Every character except Maple is lame AF. Okay, well, he's actually right about that. This game is trash. For 15 bucks, just get Brawlhalla for free. Just buy Smash Bros. Some kind of monster try to merge Pokemon with Smash. There's over 5,000 reviews in Rivals of Aether, and I read all of them. No, I read a bunch of the negative reviews, because I'm really bored, I guess. And so in doing this, I learned nothing. I learned 4 things technically, but we're gonna disregard balance, because we already know that raster is broken, and we need to do something about raster. What is wrong with people? What are we doing? We're gonna disregard balance because every character is broken and she doesn't make. So I learned 3 things about Rivals of Aether. I learned of 3 major complaints that actually have merit to them, I think, in my humble Adam Carra opinion. Number 1, DLC. Number 2, the internet online. And number 3, Rivals of Aether is not for casuals. I'm Adam Carra, your favorite Adam Carra, and this is a look at all of the negative things about Rivals of Aether. Game only has 8 characters and wants money for more? Stop locking your roster behind paywalls. This game is really good. But the fact that you have to pay $5 for each new character when there is only a select few to begin with is ridiculous. Seems like a cash grab to me. The game's cost has now tripled. 1/3 for the base game, 2/3 for all DLC? That's a negative review for me. DLC. Worst game I've bought. $15 for 8 characters, and now I have to pay an extra $15 so I can have a complete game? No thanks. For $15, I was given 6 characters with the promise of more to come. 2 of those came for free. The next 3, more powerful characters, cost me money. 3 out of 10, less expensive Street Fighter V. Okay, so DLC is an interesting one, because it's, again, not about the balance of the DLC characters, but the way DLC is presented in the game. So this is what the game looks like if you're a furry, and this is what the game looks like for someone who doesn't own any DLC. And this is actually very astonishing. This is something I never thought about. As someone who started from the beginning of the game, essentially, you kind of get piecemealed, right? They introduced Apps was free, they introduced Edalus was free, and then they introduced Ori, and then they introduced Claire and Rano, and then but now that if you look at the game, if you're someone that's new, almost half the characters are DLC, which is actually mind-boggling. This looks real bad, especially in an era right now where we have so many games are being criticized for the way they're monetized, loot boxes, and just DLC in general, microtransactions, are being criticized in such a way that when you see this in Rivals, you can actually, it makes perfect sense why people really don't like that at all. And there's also a misconception too. I see a lot of people talk about how, oh, a character's $5, which is not exactly the case, since, you know, you get 2 for 1. And I think this, again, has to do with, like, the lack of presentation. Again, Rivals is an indie game, so obviously I'm complaining, but it's not really their fault. They just have a lack of resources. If we look at the character selection screen, the characters that come together are on opposite sides of the screen. Until you actually go and buy them, that connection might not be made in your head. And then the 2 characters that are in the center, where your eye is just naturally drawn, Both do cost $5. And the worst part about all of this is that Raster is free. You don't have to pay for Raster. It doesn't make any sense. If we compare Rivals to other games and how they do DLC, if we look at Smash just straight up hides them. They just hide their characters. If you don't own it, it's just not there until you buy it. It doesn't like flaunt you with like the fact that, oh, you just don't have this character until you run into someone online. These characters just don't show up. And we compare it to some other games. Brawlhalla is a game you just don't want to be compared to ever at all for any reason. And then Brawlhalla just doesn't even have characters, so that's how they get around that issue. So if we look at this is my proposed solution. We just remove Raster. Online is just as much of a gigantic mess as the day it was released. Too much lag on multiplayer. Unplayable. I regret buying this game. Servers are terrible. Cute game and all, but you can only play with one other person online. 2v2 and free-for-all is for local. Disappointment. This game is brilliant. Tons of fun. However, for me, online matchmaking have more or less been impossible to take part of since the game only matches me, EU player, against US players, causing horrible ping. Downvoting until they actually make it, so I'll be matched with players in my region. It's not that hard to do. If you are anywhere outside the US, don't even try and get this. I can play with minimum ping games like Overwatch, CSGO, and Street Fighter V without problem. Here, the inputs are super laggy, and no matter the region, ping is extremely high. The game is good, I won't lie, but you can hardly find an exhibition match since most of the players are on ranked, and when I go onto ranked, it's the same thing, meeting people who know how to parry wave dash and some spammers. It's ridiculous! Can't play with more than one friend at a time. F*** off! So with Rivals, you can only do 1v1 online, and this is obviously a more casual complaint, but it comes up a lot, and it's pretty understandable, especially if you compare it to its contemporaries like Slap City, that upon launch, like instantly you were able to just join into a lobby with a bunch of people. Their team battle basically doesn't exist online. Like for starters, you have to have another person physically with you, which kind of defeats the purpose of online. On top of that, you're not gonna find a game. If you were to do that, there's no way you'd find a game like randomly. You have to invite someone. Another issue is Raster again is pickable online. Another major issue obviously is that Rivals is a dead game. This is true. This is something, you know, that's not really in anyone's hands. This isn't really anyone's fault. But again, maybe these issues are why it's a dead game. It's a bit of a catch-22 when it comes to it being dead. You buy the game, right? You go online, and then you just can't find games. Obviously, that means it's just not worth it to you. And that's a fair argument. You know, it's just honest work. Honest, fair, unbiased Adam Carra. Paid for by the Committee to Nerf Raster. Rivals as a culture, like our community, we all flock to casual for some reason. For whatever reason. This is just what we've all done. I guess that's just because that's where everyone is, and so we're all gonna go there. And so like as someone who's master ranked is super dead. It's very difficult to find more than one person on ranked at a time. One of the major issues with the online is that you can't find people of similar skill level because we're all just in casual and a giant bucket. All right, next issue in this little online section is obviously lag. A lot of people compare Rivals to like Brawlhalla. That's like obviously the major comparison, and Brawlhalla has servers, so their netcode's just gonna be better. Rivals is peer-to-peer, so I think a lot of the issues, the concerns with the online are just they're your own fault. It's your fucking fault. You just have bad internet. But on the flip side, I mean, Rivals is just less inclusive for people with worse internet. Someone with a worse connection can go into Brawlhalla and play a significantly better game than in Rivals. And this is like evident in the way, like something that's interesting from a hardcore player, I think we all do this as people who play this game way too much. We all do this where we just deny. If they're from Europe, deny. If they're from the East Coast, deny. If their name's Dan Fernacey, deny. If they're playing Raster, get the fuck out of here. No one's playing against that. To be honest, I can't recommend this game. Is it a good game? Yes. Is it noob friendly? No. Bought this game for myself and a friend. I'm just not a fan of being juggled with no options. I have not won a single online match. I keep getting matched with the same 2 players. This game is only fun if you're somehow already good at it before buying it. Due to a player population that is lower than my GPA, you will generally get matched up against gods of the game. I get it, I'm salty, but everyone on this game is a bunch of tryhards who have mastered everything. Wave dashing, spacing when someone new, me, tries to pick up a game but can't even get out a single combo because they just read everything. I can't DI or tech because this god-awful community is just everyone who's insane apparently, and then there's me who doesn't even know how to DI out. I understand, I don't have many hours, but every time I pick up the game, it just makes me feel even more degrading than I already did. I love the art design. I really like this game. Fun characters, fun mechanics, absolutely love the combat. Just one massive issue that stops me from playing, which is the learning curve. There's none. Fun game, but doesn't pack a lot content-wise. I suck at wave dashing. I love this game, I really do. Playing it with friends is some of the best couch fun you can have, but the online is the sweatiest community I've ever seen. I'm not a super competitive player, but between various Smash games and Brawlhalla, I have well over 500 hours in the genre. That being said, Rivals is really hard. It used to be a lot of fun. Now the developers have changed the game to favor the small competitive community, and it is no longer fun. Can't recommend. Neat. But if you don't spend every waking moment dedicated to Rivals of Aether, there is no online mode. There is a sandbag simulator though, so if you like getting thrown around the stage with no chance to defend yourself, go for it. You need to play 200 plus hours of this game and have a control in order to have a control. What I said before, the combos are too easy on most characters, and some of the bullshit is guaranteed or damn near it. Fucking Craig! Rivals of Aether is not for casuals. Get it? Story mode is awful. There's no way you could ever find enjoyment in that. Abyss mode is hidden behind menus. Tutorial is also like very hidden. I noticed Rivals did this new thing now because I'm being bombarded with it because I don't know, Rivals is a great game, overwhelmingly positive, where they have these weird orb that like you follow the orb trail, select each of the orbs, it takes you to the tutorial. That is a very strange UI technique. I don't know. And I think it's evident they did that because people aren't finding the tutorial. I would just throw the tutorial right in the beginning, right in the first screen, tutorial. I think Rivals of Aether needs a UI overhaul. Maybe that's what this whole video is actually about. But here's the thing about the tutorial. I think a lot of us probably, when someone's trying to get into the game, they're having a hard time, you're like, oh, just play the tutorial. It'll teach you all this. It'll teach you all that. Did anyone really learn from the tutorial? I know I didn't learn from the tutorial. I might have learned a couple of like, oh, okay, you can do that. The tutorial is very boring. Like, the tutorial is great for us. It is not good for casuals, is the thing. Like, ironically enough, the tutorial is better for someone who's already willing to get into the game. The tutorial is just an information dump. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. Like, a good tutorial demonstrates what you need to do in a situation where you would do it, instead of like this void, weird training world that's sterile and completely different from like an actual match. And it's obviously it's very hard to do this in a fighting game. My point is, for a casual person, being told just do the tutorial is not going to get them into the game. And it also doesn't help that Rivals of Aether's CPUs are terrible. The CPUs are coded by the same people that balanced raster. So what is a casual player to do? And there is no answer to that question, and that's why people leave negative reviews. Nobody wants to read. If the tutorial doesn't work and the CPUs don't work, what does a casual player have left? They just want to like play the game, and that's story mode. And the story mode doesn't teach you diddly. And I think this is probably something I think Dan has realized. Make your story mode also your tutorial, and then it'll like kind of blend together. You know, instead of just like, here, fight a shitty arcane that kills itself. What if it's like, oh, you need to dodge its attacks in order to break its shield or whatever. This is something I just made up right now that instantly teaches the player an application of a move in order to accomplish a goal. And that's just interesting from a story mode perspective, as opposed to just fight him. Just fight this guy, now fight that guy. It's like, oh, now I gotta beat him using this, so I gotta beat him using that. Hire me, Dan. I'm not here to suggest a bunch of things. We're really here to just look at why this doesn't work for a casual player. And so again, to like wind it back, an organic tutorial at this moment does not exist in Rivals of Aether. Most of us, or like all of us, how did we learn? We just went online, right? And we just played a shitload of games and got our asses kicked until at some point we start winning against some people. And not everybody's up for that. A lot of people just don't have the mental fortitude to just get destroyed. Or also a lot of us like got in at the beginning and we just happened to be amidst a bunch of players of similar skill level. If you buy the game right now, you're gonna get fucked. And there's no way around that. In and of itself, that's not a bad thing. But when that's all the game is, when it's lacking in all of the other features that I talked about before, and all the game is to some, you know, Stefan newbie who, oh, I'm buying this cool game, it looks like Smash Bros, I love Smash, and you boot it up and you're just getting destroyed 0 to death. You're getting one-touched by people and you're like, okay, well, let me do the single player, and then it's the story mode. Of course you're gonna hate the game. So how do we solve this? What is Adam Carra's solution? I think ranked mode is probably a big issue. I think us as a culture need to all be way more into ranked mode, because in ranked mode, it's the only place where people can get somewhat matched up to someone that's at least hopefully the similar skill level. Like even that's not great, but like something like that, at least preventing the, you know, the gods from playing, you know, Stefan. Rivals does have a small little tiny little sigil thing that shows you your rank, even in casual, that will be there, so you can see like, oh, okay, this person's master rank. But if you don't know that, there should be a better system for a player to understand, oh, I'm gonna play a guy who's gonna fuck my asshole. A lot of games do this, what you call it. It's not even just ranked. You just have like a straight up level that progresses just based on playtime, right? If you do so many matches, and then you know the prestige system, things like that. I feel like Rivals probably should have something like that, because then it would help Johnny Stefan newborn boy, little kid, when he goes into the game and he sees, oh, this guy mains Raster and he's played 50 million times. I just won't do it. I'm not gonna play that guy. Or they'll be a little less upset, because I think they'll at least understand like, oh, okay, this guy played a lot. And then hopefully it'll actually help them find like, oh, this guy's like a Smurf account. He hasn't played the game at all. And he plays them and it's still Raster. But yeah, I mean, the number system is just one suggestion, right? The issue is casual people need a sense of what they're getting into, I think. Those are the main issues. Now, Rivals of Aether, as you may or may not know, will eventually be coming out with the definitive edition. One, it's going to come with all the characters, which will instantly solve the DLC issue, because you're going to get all the stages, all the characters. Now people aren't going to be like, oh, pay to win. They're also working on new netcode. Will that fix the online issue? I think kind of. But will this fix the issue that Rivals of Aether is not for casuals? Will this make the game good for Stefan? And I think the answer is no. I think it's unrealistic to expect Dan and company to just overhaul all of their single player content. I think there are a number of things they can do to help this. Again, like putting the tutorial in an easier to find spot, Abyss mode not being just completely hidden. Because what's interesting is Abyss mode is a multiplayer mode, but it's in solo modes. It's just, UI, Dan, please. Again, with, you know, considering development time and stuff, and I don't know anything about making games, I don't believe it's realistic to expect that. If we get that, it will hopefully draw on more players, which, you know, is good, because then I can beat more people online. Will Rivals, you know, stop being a dead game after Definitive Edition? I don't know. The only thing that is certain is that we trust in Dan. What? What the fuck? Who wrote this?